Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the podcast for a clan meeting. Welcome to Paws Clause, a podcast where we read the Warrior Cats books in chronological order. I'm Jill, joined by my co-host and elite gamer Scout, and today we will be discussing the New Prophecy Book 3, Dawn. Hi, Scout.
Hi, I'm gaming right now as we speak.
Fucking gaming.
I'm a gamer.
Scout finally set up her Xbox.
I did. I bought secondhand from our wonderful editor, AJ. AJ's Xbox Series S when they upgraded to the Series X. And I finally got it set up yesterday. And the application, the Xbox app has a fucking achievements system built into it for playing. It's like, get Xbox to play your games or whatever. I'm like, oh, this is so much. Xbox is so much, but Game Pass is good.
That's good. What do you, other than the Hades 2 early access, what kind of games have you been playing?
Yeah, I downloaded Little Kitty Big City yesterday because it is on Game Pass, and so I played a little bit of that yesterday.
I played quite a bit of that on Friday. I had the day off, and I was like, I am gonna get this video game. So I played quite a bit. I really enjoy it. I think it's nice and cute. It's just really a nice wind down game.
Yeah.
And the kitty reminds me so much of my kitty.
Yes. It is truly the Zelda simulator. I love all of the animations that the cats do. They're all so good.
Definitely recommend picking it up if you're looking for a quickish game. I haven't beat it yet, but I don't think it'll.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that far. Yeah, I think it's a relatively short couple hours game, probably.
Yeah,
in the 5 to 10 hour range.
It reminds me a lot of Untitled Goose Game.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
So, especially in gameplay, length, that kind of stuff. So definitely, if that is a game you enjoyed, I think Little Kitty Big City would be a good one for you. We're not sponsored by them. I just think it's a cool video game.
It's a cool video game, and it's about a kitty.
What else have you been playing? Or is it just been that and Hades?
It's mostly been that and Hades. I've been playing a little bit of Loop Hero.
Oh, okay.
Which is fun. That came out on mobile recently, and that's been fun. It's got great pixel art. It's another
fun.
I'm a little bit, you could call me a roguelite guy. Sometimes, in that I like the ones
on occasion.
I don't like necessarily run and gun stuff, which a lot of roguelikes sort of play in that space. I'm not a bullet hell person, but all of the variations on a roguelike that people have come up with intrigue me often.
Yeah. I'm very similar.
Yeah, including Hades 2 early access, which I've been playing a lot of Hades 2 early access on the Steam Deck. It's really good, guys. It's so good.
I have not played the Hades 2 early access because I simply do not want to bother with the hassle of hooking a controller up to my computer.
That's so valid.
So I'm just going to wait till the full game is out. But I did tell myself I'm not going to miss the hype this time. I'm not going to get it 3 years after the fact and be like, wow, have you guys heard of this game called Hades? I just started playing this game called Hades that came out a couple years ago, and I think it's really cool and you should check it out. And they're all like, yes, Jill, we have all played Hades at this point. We've all beaten Hades at this point. I'm like, damn, this is such a cool video game.
It's such a cool video game, though, is the thing, is that it's really cool. I just replayed it last year, so, I feel you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good game.
A less good game that I have been playing is Fallout 4. So, I'm a known lover of the Fallout series. In fact, I even convinced my parents to bring our old Xbox 360 when they come visit so that I can finally beat one of my favorite games of all time, which is Fallout New Vegas. Yes, it is one of my favorite games. No, I have not beaten it yet. Because...
Don't at them.
Well, no, apparently it is also a meme among the community that, like, you know, the DLC that I'm stuck on is the hardest one.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gotten myself ding-dang turned around, and then I went off to college, and I just hadn't touched it since. So we're getting back into that bad boy. So until such time that I can play New Vegas, soothing the wound with Fallout 4. I have played Fallout 4 before. I did not finish Fallout 4, but I basically finished like 90% of the main storyline.
Who among us has finished a Bethesda game? Really?
That's so true. I don't think you ever do. I think a Bethesda game is more about the journey than the destination.
Exactly.
That being said, the destination in Fallout 4 does genuinely suck butt, in my opinion. I do not enjoy the main storyline of that game whatsoever. So I have turned Fallout 4 into my farming sim.
Yes, I love this.
And all I am doing is helping people out in the wasteland make their little farms and just kind of being a homesteader. And that's it. That's all I'm really doing. I don't really care to do much else. Just rebuilding all these little houses and stuff.
It's the Stardew Valley version of Fallout 4.
Yeah, I'm just playing the Stardew Valley DLC for Fallout.
Oh, God.
But I found that this is like actually a very fun way of playing it. And I am looking forward to getting to play New Vegas again. I want to go back. There. It's been a fun time.
I want to go back.
We have to go back. Oh, I've been rewatching Lost. That's another thing.
Oh, we have to go back. There we go.
We have to go back. Thanks to YouTuber Mike's Lost summaries. I was like, damn, I really should rewatch Lost, shouldn't I? And then I started rewatching Lost. I'm like, damn, the show actually does pop the fuck off.
I have enjoyed Billifred's extremely long Lost, like, retrospective YouTube videos as well. So I'll have to check out the Mike's Mike ones.
Oh my god, please.
I gotta watch some Mike's Mike. I know that you are always talking about Mike's Mike, and it sounds very good and fun.
He's unfortunately influenced a great deal of my vocal stems at this point. He's a fun time. Very much enjoy his stuff.
That's great.
So how's the Prey running?
Prey is running pretty good. The fam and I made homemade gyros yesterday, including pitas.
So good.
It was very tasty. I'm calling out my 2012 self because we have a recipe card that is like my recipe for this marinade that I wrote in 2012, and one of the instructions is it's just the list of ingredients, and the instructions say estimate measurements. And I'm like, I get it, I can do it, but also past Scout, you really had confidence in future Scout in a way that you were really like, she'll remember, she'll figure it out. What about you? How's the Prey been running for you?
Oh, it's been running all right. You know, this past week has just been a whole hullabaloo at work. So
a whole
hullabaloo.
Damn.
We had a tech issue on Monday that just basically like set the stage for the entire week.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah. So like literally nobody's fault.
Yeah.
Just tech issues. So I have really not had much time to think about cooking, unfortunately. We ordered burgers and milkshakes tonight.
Ooh. That sounds
and
tasty.
I'm hoping to like get us back in the habit of having like some lighter summer meals soon, because
yeah, it's getting to be that time.
Boy, howdy, is it hot here.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Also, happy Mother's Day to all the moms.
Happy Mother's Day to Sandstorm, to Tall Poppy, to Dawnflower. Who else is a mom in this book? Fern Cloud.
Happy Mother's Day to Fern Cloud.
Good God.
Needs it. Oh my God.
Get this woman a spa day.
Oh, Jesus. Sasha. Happy Mother's Day to Sasha, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose.
We'll get into it. She's got an energy in this book.
Yeah, it's very different than
any of the other depictions of her.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But yes, today is Mother's Day. When we're recording this, actually, this is probably going to come out pretty close to Mother's Day anyway.
Yeah, I believe we are now our backlog. Dear listeners, our backlog has been expended. We are now only 2 weeks out.
Yeah, we've been suffering.
We've been scheduling. Sometimes is hard to schedule. Sometimes it's hard to read a book, even one about cats. You know, sometimes
even one that you're like, I want to be reading this book, and you're just like, the vibes. I'm so tired.
Sometimes the vibes are, I'm so tired. My whole weekend has been I'm so tired hours. I've been
mood.
I'm glad I got my reading done last weekend, because if not, I probably wouldn't have gotten it done this weekend.
I was in bed by 8:00 last night.
Sometimes that's just the fucking vibe, you know?
I fell asleep by 9. And Eric went to a hockey game about 2 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
He got back at almost midnight and scared the shit out of me when I woke up, because the cat decided to jump on the bed, and he was just standing there, and my eyes shot open, and I was like, ah! And he's like, it's just me. I'm like, I know, but I still got spooked.
It's when your husband becomes your sleep paralysis demon.
I was out. So we got some covers to talk about. Don't really have much else to talk about in Prey Running today.
Yeah, but that's okay. I really the new prophecy covers in Poland are just all so good that I can't help mentioning them every episode. This week it is Squirrel Paw, and it's like a Maine Coon Squirrel Paw. She's like a big kind of chonky rectangle of a cat. This is a headshot of Squirrel Paw with sort of like a dark brooding red-orange sky
it's
going
really
into
pretty.
Yeah, really pretty, going into like grays and blacks, and one single cat crossing the mountains here in the bottom, which is really pretty.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I like it a lot. I love the contrast of how bright green her eyes are here.
Yeah, everything else is very, very muted.
Mm-hmm. And very warm. And then we have sort of these cool, I mean, there's a warm yellow green, but there's also the really cool shadow that looks really good. Somebody who doesn't look as good is Leaf Paw on the simplified Chinese cover, who's really looking into
what did they do to my girl?
What did they do to her?
She has the most traumatized eyes.
It's just, she's looking right into my soul, but also somehow in two different directions at the same time.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's so much. I don't know why they did this. That's the two cover bits I wanted to hit today.
I will say the original English cover does have bisexual lighting.
Hell yeah, it does. You're right.
Fucking nice.
That one, and I believe, is it Starlight also has it? I feel like there's...
I've got Starlight right here. No, Starlight is all blues.
Oh yeah, Starlight is all blues. Then it's Dawn, I think, that also has...
Well, this is Dawn, my dear.
Piss. Sunset. Sunset Warriors cover. I believe
Sunset actually looks like it could be like the same cover almost.
They're really, really similar, which is why I keep mixing them up.
Yeah. Wow, those really are just the same fucking picture, huh?
They're very, very similar. But good. Both good.
Both very good. We love to see bisexual lighting.
Love the bisexual lighting. I have one other fun little anecdote that I wanted to tell while we're in the Prey Running, and that is that guess who finally went to the library?
Woohoo!
It's me!
I'm so proud of you.
So 3 years ago, my parents and I moved from one apartment to another apartment, and the new apartment is in a different library district than our old apartment was. And so I've been saying for literally 3 years, there is a library that is 3 blocks away. I can walk to that. I could walk to that thing. I walk past it almost every day when I walk my dog. And I think I should just walk back down here when I don't have the dog, because I don't want to bring the dog in the library. That's not very polite. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go and I'm going to get my library card for this area. Now, I have a virtual library card, and that's generally what I've been using, the Libby app and the virtual library to read the Warrior Cats books. But I was able, finally. I had the executive function. I had the anxiety decrease. Like, I had it in me. I did the thing. I went to the library. I got my library card, and the next episode, I will have read a book physically for this podcast, for a main book for the first time. I had a physical copy of the guide to the clans. Yeah, the guidebook that you sent to me. But other than that, everything since we started the podcast, I've read digitally. So I'm excited that I got a physical one. They had Starlight. I picked it up, and then Anxiety Brain said, "You, an adult woman, cannot be coming to the library, getting a library card, checking out one child's book about cats, and leaving."
Look, I did that for a bit.
Nobody would care, but in my brain,
nobody would give a shit.
Nobody would care, but in my brain, I was like, I can't do this. So I picked out 2 other books, but they both look really interesting. I did. Yeah. That's a thing that I used to love to do, is just like go to the library and be like, random book on the shelf that seems like it could be interesting, I'll give it a try. That's the great thing about the library.
Exactly. You know, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but I do think that sometimes you should pick a book based on its cover.
Exactly.
And just give it a whirl.
Yeah, give it a whirl.
You never know.
That's what I did with these 2, and that they had good typography. You know what? Some books out there, I was at the library, some books out there, y'all got to get better graphic designers for those book covers. Some of that typography is really bad out there, gamers. Anyways, all of this to say, dear listeners, this is my firm endorsement to utilize your local library system. I know we've said it before, but I wanted to practice what I preach, and so I have practiced what I've preached. I went to the library. I have the card now. The librarian that helped me get my card had a lot of colorful pins on their lanyard. Ooh. And I bet some of them were queer. I was too self-conscious to look too closely, but they had some colors. So, you know, this is what the library is all about. I'm always repping the local library. You know me. I fucking love it. Love to rep the local library.
And they always have fun groups too. So I am not kidding when I say going to the library has been the main way that I have gotten the confidence to make friends here.
Hell yes.
So folks, go to your local library, go to an event.
Yes.
Even if you are oh my gosh, I'm so scared to go to an event. I just am I won't know anyone there. It's fine. Literally, it is the most low stakes social event I feel like you can go to, because you're not paying for it and nobody's gonna judge you if you leave.
Yeah.
If you leave and never come back to that event, they're not gonna care. They're not gonna know.
This is so true.
They might be like, oh man, I wish that cool person was coming back, but if that's not for you, then it's not for you, and it costs you nothing. Please go. I cannot stress this enough. It is so important.
We have to support our libraries because the government doesn't.
God. Yeah. Plus, it helps the library, because the government sure as fuck ain't doing shit about it. Mm-hmm. Government ain't doing shit about anything.
Damn. And
that's my stance.
Getting political on the podcast.
I don't think that's terribly political.
It's not. I'm making a joke. It's not terribly political. Would love if the government would do things.
Yeah, well, they're doing things, just not good things.
Would love if they would do things that were productive and helpful to fostering a healthy society.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Speaking of a healthy society, let's dive in to the summary. In the forest, ThunderClan finally leaves their camp after the Two Legs have essentially destroyed their territory. On their way, they discover that the Two Legs have made it to 4 trees and are tearing up the great oaks. The questing cats return to the forest and their clans, with Stormfur coming to ThunderClan in order to relay the news of Feathertail's death to their father. After the news has been given, he returns to his own clan. In order to search for the sign, the questing cats bring their leaders and a few medicine cats to what remains of 4 trees, searching the sky for the dying warrior. Wind Clan and Thunder Clan are on board for leaving the forest, but River Clan and Shadow Clan require more convincing. Squirrelpaw has a dream of Leafpaw's location. Her sister is trapped with other rogues, kitty pets, and clan cats by some of the two-legs working on the forest. She leads a few other cats to the rescue, and in saving Brightheart and Cloudtail, Graystripe is captured and driven away from the clan. Firestar is devastated at the loss of his dear friend and deputy, and refuses to name a new deputy at Moon High, instead dividing responsibility among the senior warriors. Wind Clan comes to live with Thunder Clan as Sunning Rocks, as they can no longer survive on their own territory. Soon after, River Clan realizes that the two legs are draining water from the river, and Shadow Clan gets aid from Thunder Clan and Wind Clan as their camp is destroyed. At this point, all four clans realize they must leave. They stop at Ravenpaw and Barley's barn, and then again at Highstones, where they see the sign, the dying warrior, a shooting star, guiding them past the mountains of the tribe. Along their journey, they stay with the tribe during a heavy snowfall, and Stormfur makes the decision to stay with the tribe rather than continue with the clans. Crowpaw gets his warrior name, Crowfeather, in honor of his lost love. Squirrelpaw and Brambleclaw, too, admit their feelings for one another. After the clans leave, they make it across the mountains to a lake. When they see Silverpelt reflected in the water, they are certain this is their new home.
The journey.
The journey is I forgot how short the journey is in this book.
They really do it in half a book.
Not even. It was like halfway through the book. I'm like, these cats haven't fucking decided to leave yet.
I also remembered it, especially in childhood. Like, I read this a couple of years back, reread it. But I remember in childhood this feeling like it took forever. Like, it was an epic journey.
Yeah. And it really was like a couple chapters.
Yeah, really not very long at all. Even their stay with the tribe here was not. Yeah. I remembered that being much longer. But that's a little bit later to start with. Overall thoughts for this one.
I liked it.
Yeah, I really, really like this one.
I think this was a really nice. I'll get into it when we get into the fandom, the sharing tongues, but it is a book that is very heavily reliant on setting to tell the story, and I think it does that really well. Because you really do just get this sense of devastation when the forest is being destroyed.
Yeah, it really is it is a book that out of the context of the series, like it's not a book that I would say would probably read very effectively standalone. 100%
agree.
But in the context of everything that has happened around it and everything that will continue to happen, it really hits as a fan for fans. You know, sometimes we say on this podcast, in the wise words of our good friend Julia, I am a fan and I'm being served.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely think I 100% agree with that. This is not the kind of book I would recommend to somebody who has not read any Warriors books before. But for someone who has read, at the very least, the first arc, I think there's enough in there to kind of give you the context of what's going on and still hit some of those emotional punches.
Yeah, absolutely. The prologue here, that's my first note, is that the prologue was really good.
I agree.
All of the cats gathering and seeing Four Trees be devastated was good. And it was just written really well.
I think seeing Four Trees destroyed was like a huge gut punch, especially now that I've read Dawn of the Clans.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned you've got this in your notes too, but like knowing how important Four Trees actually is to like StarClan specifically.
Yeah.
I know this was not in mind when they wrote it because Dawn of the Clans came way after this.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that after Fortrees is destroyed, StarClan is like not able to communicate as well. Like they can't talk to them as much.
Yeah.
And just thinking about like that's where StarClan first showed up in Dawn of the Clans, like just thinking about how important Fortrees is with that added context really made the destruction like hit.
Yeah. The whole time in the prologue and like any time that they were at Fortrees in this book, I just kept thinking about like there's cat bones there. There is a history of cats being buried at Fortrees in the ancient clans, and they're just under there.
Yeah.
Like that's like the physical sort of counterpart to the spiritual and emotional devastation there. But I just keep thinking about like the history literally buried there that is being dug up and
torn up.
Yeah, and torn up. This is a CinemaSins ass thing, but it did make me laugh. It took a lot of powerful construction vehicles in this book to move the Great Rock. And I just kept thinking as they were describing like how big this rock is and the way that it was turned upside down and that it needed this big like 2-leg contraption, like a big, piece of construction machinery to move it. And then I'm thinking back to Dawn of the Clans when like 12 cats sort of pushed it around.
Yeah.
Obviously, it could have become, it's clearly become more deeply embedded in the ground over the decades, but
for sure. I guess I also have just never been certain of how big the Great Rock is.
Oh, me either.
Because sometimes describing it, I'm like, this is a fucking boulder.
Sometimes it's just like a normal thing, but then sometimes cats talk about being up there to address the other cats, and it's like I'm so fucking high up, and I'm like, how big is this?
Yeah.
How big is this rock?
I have never been certain. How big is the Great Rock? Warrior cats. Several tail lengths high.
Thinking
about my cat's tail. It's not that tall.
That's like, what, 3 feet maybe? That's like...
I mean, several tail lengths would probably be like at least 2 meters, I guess. Sometimes cats can have difficulty climbing up its tall sides, so there's a ledge on one side that they can use to climb to the top.
We'll never
It's also
know.
said a large jagged rock. Is this just Pride Rock?
It's kind of Pride Rock, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So I looked at there is an image of it from Shadow and River Clan where it is huge. It is very big, but it is like half jutting up, and there are smaller rocks beneath it.
Right.
I don't know, man. That doesn't feel correct.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that would naturally occur.
Oh, yeah, there it is in Ravenpaw's Path. There it is in, Shadow and River Clan. It really is Pride Rock-ass rock.
Yeah, and then, like, the cover for Enter the Clans is, like, it's pretty small.
Yeah, that's just a little, that's like a tree stump. But then there's this other one from Code of the Clans with Finch Star, and that one's pretty big. But it's still not as...
So from what I'm understanding is we just don't know.
We just don't know.
It's a rock.
It's a rock. This is not that important. I'm sorry to go on this tangent. This is fun,
it's
though.
fine. I think, it's definitely something that I'm like, I've always wanted to know, and I still don't have an answer, I guess.
Erin's Hunter, tell us the truth. What is the truth?
Give me the exact dimensions.
How much bigger is it than a bread box?
Yeah.
But speaking in this area, the scene at Fortrees where the leaders and the medicine cats and the chosen cats are all together.
Oh, what a good fucking scene.
What a good scene. Everybody is there's just like a richness and depth to all the various viewpoints going on. There's clearly a lot of agendas is kind of a strong word, but there is a sense of like everybody's got their own idea of what to do, and some of them want to share it and some of them don't, and they all have different angles on how to deal with the hardships they're going through.
It really makes every cat in that scene feel distinct.
Yes, it really does. Everybody feels distinct. Everybody feels like they have like it's important for them to be there. as part of the scene, which does not always happen.
That is so true. I do want to poke real quick, just because we didn't really mention it in the summary, but we do mention it in earlier. Poor fucking Ferncloud.
Oh my god. Ferncloud and Dustpelt.
She suffers so much in this book.
It's just awful. She loses one of her kits. She loses another one of her kits. Apparently, between the end of Series 1 and the beginning of Series 2, she and Dustpelt had 2 litters, one with 2 kits who are apprentices now, and then one very recently where they had 3 kits. We lost one of the younger kits last book. This book, we lose another one. It's so sad.
And then one of her kits from the earlier litter gets run over by a car.
And it's all because they're just too hungry. It's so sad.
It's so devastating. I truly was just like, can you give this girl a rest?
Please give her a rest.
She does not deserve any of this. Because she really doesn't. Ferncloud is like the sweetest.
She's just the sweetest cat. And she just, like, the thing she wants to do is be, you know, a nurturing presence. She loves her kids so much. She loves her husband so much. And it's just like killing her that she cannot do the one thing that she wants to do, which is like take care of her family.
Yeah.
Ugh.
She does get some good moments with one of the cats that is in, I almost just called it prison. In the cages. It's cat prison. In the cages with Leafpaw that she kind of makes a little connection with.
Cody.
Is this she-cat named Cody, who is a kitty pet, and is like, I really do just want to get back home to my family, to my housefolk. And they're like, well, it's kind of dangerous out there. Like, do you want us to just send you with an escort when you're ready to go? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. And she comes and stays with ThunderClan for a little bit. And she helps Ferncloud take care of her one remaining kit by, like, chewing up food for him so that he, like, can eat and doesn't have to rely entirely on Ferncloud.
Yeah, because one of the things is that Ferncloud is like not getting enough nutrition to produce milk. And she's also deeply in grief. So she's not eating even
so
more
she's
than
like
usual.
Not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Cody helps her out, and, you know, we get a little bit of, you know, Cody was a mother at one point. She had kittens, and they all went to go live with different housefolk. But she knows how to take care of kittens, and she helps Ferncloud out, and I just thought that was a really nice moment.
It was really nice. I love the different perspective that Cody brings, like on motherhood, but also just like on cathood. I love it when we get a kitty pet in the mix who gets to display to the forest cats how their life is still like enriching even when and that they still live very
deep lives.
Very deep lives, even as kitty pets, is always really good.
I can't believe I had completely forgotten about Cody. I forgot that she was a thing at all, but I really enjoyed her. I thought she was a really nice character to have in there.
She was great.
Also, she and Leafpaw kind of sort of had a thing, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Sorreltail sensed it.
Yes, Squirreltail sensed it. The lesbian Leafpaw agenda just keeps getting new files added to it.
I know. I think about this often. Sorreltail being like jealous
oh my God,
of Cody.
Sorreltail is so jealous. She's like, ugh, why is she still here? And it's like, Sorreltail, calm down. You're still her number one.
You're still her bestie.
So good. So you want to hear my story about Graystripe?
I do. I really want to hear your story about Graystripe.
Okay, so this book came out December 27th, 2005. At that time, I was 11 years old. So, like, this was peak Warriors phase for me. Mm-hmm. I was on Neopets at this point. I was role-playing Warriors. I was deep in the sauce.
Yes.
And of course, as we all know, Graystripe was my favorite cat.
Yes.
My absolute favorite. He was my favorite cat.
That's your Blorbito.
That's my Blorbito. When I was a child, we would go up to Michigan to visit my grandmother every other Christmas. We would go up to Michigan. And then the years we didn't go up for Christmas, we'd go up for 4th of July. 2005 was one of those years we went up to Michigan for Christmas, which usually was, you know, staying for several days before and after. And one of the days before Christmas, we were kind of going around and we went to a bookstore. And originally I was not planning on getting any books because I was like, well, there's no books that I really want right now. The only one that I want is Dawn, and that doesn't come out until after Christmas. Wouldn't you know it, this tiny little indie bookstore in middle of nowhere, Michigan, got their copies of Dawn early and had them out on the shelves.
They hooked you the fuck up. I love that.
I think it was literally Christmas Eve that they had them out. So it was like they weren't going to be open the next day.
Mm-hmm. They were getting it right. They were getting it set up.
Yeah, they were getting it ready. But I was still able to buy a copy. So I bought this copy of Dawn. Christmas fucking Eve. Now remember, everybody, I have always been a fast reader.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Eve. I'm sitting there in my grandmother's living room, hot cocoa in hand, curled up under a blanket, comfy PJs on, and then my man Graystripe gets fucking taken.
Oh, no.
And I am inconsolable for the rest of the night because at that point, Dawn was the most recent book, right?
Uh-huh.
I had no idea he was going to come back.
Yeah.
They left.
God.
They went all the way to the lake. I was like, even if he's still alive, they're never going to find him. He's never going to find them. I was distraught.
Oh,
Before
baby,
Christmas.
baby Jill.
It was so tragic. I was
Truly
so
devastating.
upset.
Devastating.
So yes, that is my Graystripe story. And it is that I got the book early and was upset around Christmas because that is
Yeah.
That's just how it is. It's a funny story telling it now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But back then I was like, that's it. He's gone forever. My favorite cat. And my mom is like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, my favorite cat just died.
Oh.
Even though he didn't die, but I was basically like, he's not coming back.
He's dead narratively.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, boy.
I really feel his absence after he
I
disappears
know.
in this book.
Oh, Firestar is so, like, Firestar is me for real.
Firestar's fucking devastated.
He's like, no, I'm not naming a new deputy. If there's like the sliver of a chance that my best friend is alive, he's still our fucking deputy. So jot that down.
Wait. I know he's going to be back in a couple episodes, but the spoiler.
Like, literally, as us reading it, he's not going to be gone that long.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was a child,
and listen,
it felt like he was gone forever.
and he was gone for at least a year, probably, I would say, of like book releases.
Yeah, because Warrior's Refuge was 2007. So who's gone for 2 years?
2 years.
So, like, at that point, because Warrior's Refuge, too, was December 26th, 2007. So almost 2 years to the day.
Yeah, wow.
Did it take before we got Graystripe back?
Not the Cite the Clement Davies novel, the Cite the Warriors novel. When did that come out?
So yeah, he's gone for a while.
He's gone for a while as far as books go. I mean,
and so like at that point, you know, after a year and a half, you're pretty convinced, like, okay, well, I guess Graystripe's never coming back.
Yeah, I mean, some decisions are made that sort of continue to make it feel as though it definitely could be that he's not coming back.
For sure.
I'm really excited to read Graystripe's adventure when we get there, because that's another thing that I've never consumed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. Did not read before we started this podcast. I had not read any of the novellas, any of the super editions outside of Firestar's Quest, or any of the comics outside of Rise of Scourge, which I read as like a 13-year-old because my friend lent it to me. So all of the like ranging extra additional stuff is new to me, and it's been really fun to dive into all that stuff.
I'm glad.
Yeah, so
I definitely remember reading. I mean, obviously, I read the Graystripe books.
Of course, it's Graystripe.
I'm me. It's Graystripe. Of course, I'm gonna read them, and it was only 2007.
Yeah.
So like we were still deep in it.
Yeah.
Oh man. What a time.
What a time.
So, yeah, I'm still, devastated, of course.
Yes, I'm so sorry for your loss.
I'm going to continue to miss him.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I will miss him. Especially now that, you know, like with Stormfur also being gone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, ouch.
Storm for making the decision to leave is like really works in character, but also is just heartbreaking.
Hey, did you know that the artist for the Polish editions is actually Finnish?
No.
Sorry, I was trying to find something on our Twitter, and I found out that the artist is on Twitter.
Hell yeah. I know that I have seen one, at least, I don't know if it's the same artist for all of them, but I know that one of them is on Tumblr too, because I've seen them post on Tumblr, and I'm like, hey, that's a celebrity to me.
Yeah. Oh shit. And the art director for the Polish covers is bi.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Sorry, this is a diversion, but I'm just so excited to like see all of the fucking, and I'm gonna mention this again in Sharing Tongues. It just makes me happy to always see like so many like queer folk
the
involved.
Warrior Cats community is so queer. It's kind of hilarious.
One of the artists that I follow on Twitter and have gotten like commissions from did the color work for the new Rise of Scourge version, and I was like, I just fucking love seeing like worlds colliding like that.
Truly,
it was really cool.
It's so good.
Oh man. Speaking of faves, glad we got a Ravenpaw cameo. Just wanted to say that.
Ravenpaw. I loved seeing Ravenpaw and Barley. I loved the little like Ravenpaw talking to Firestar about Greystripe. Them talking about Fire. Did I call him Firepaw just now? No, I called him Firestar.
You just said fire.
I did.
You didn't call him anything. You just said fire.
Oh no. Firestar talking about Greystripe and Ravenpaw and them reminiscing is really good. Love to see him.
Love to see him.
Sasha is in this book.
Yes. Allegedly.
It's really fascinating to me how no version of Sasha in like is
the same.
Each version of Sasha is like cognitively dissonant with all the other versions of Sasha.
It's so true.
None of them. This Sasha is so cold and
she's real rude.
She's rude. She's mean. She's like not respectful to the clans.
Yeah.
She's way more like on Tiger Star's side. Like not really on Tiger Star's side, but is very much like in the mode of not caring about her ex-boyfriend being a big cat fascist, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, she never really gave a shit about it, but she just seems a lot less, like, aware of what he did in this book.
Exactly. She was a lot more
like, he wasn't like that with me, but
she was a lot more.
He really did do some bad shit, huh? Mm-hmm.
She was a lot more apologetic about it in other versions. Here, she doesn't have that apologetic feel to me. Very just, I don't know that I have much more to say about it. I just wanted to mention it because it stuck out to me. It was just very. Like, how did they look at this, which I'm assuming was the first instance of Sasha? Or did Tiger Star and Sasha come out before this? I don't think it did. No, 2008.
So yeah, this would have been the first.
This was before that. So this is the first. It's just interesting, like, that they
turned around and decided, no, I don't think so.
Dan Jolly looked at this and said, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing with Sasha. I'm making her less of a character and more of a pushover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything intelligent to say about it. It was just like,
I don't either.
Weird.
It's just a very odd decision.
Yeah. Ugh, this moment here, looking around, Squirrelpaw realized that all the cats that had returned from the sun-drowned place were beside her. Brambleclaw, Stormfur, Crowpaw, and Tawny Pelt. She glanced up at the sky. Feathertail, are you watching us?
Yeah. All of the little nods to Feathertail in this book, like...
They get me, man. I miss her.
Especially, okay, a fucking Crowpaw requesting that his name be Crowfeather. I did like clutch my heart because I was like, oh, because it is so rare for apprentices to get to choose their warrior name.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, he did this so that she could live on. Like, come on. I'm just devastated about it.
Sorry, I had a moment of silence for Feathertail just now.
No, you're good.
Oh, yeah. I really like all of the bits, all of the crow feather moments that we get in this book. There aren't that many of them, but I like them. I also really like the name Crowfeather. Like, it's good.
It's a really good name.
It's a really fucking good name. Backing up slightly, there's just some really good action scenes in this book. The scene of everybody rescuing Shadow Clan from their camp is really, really strong. Some really good Black Star moments. As I said back when we did the Blackfoot's Reckoning episode, I'm now looking out for Black Star moments because I found him really interesting in his novella. One thing that really stuck out to me was he has a moment with the apprentice Smokepaw during the escape from the camp where he says, "I won't let you die," to Smokepaw during the camp's destruction. And then later, during the crossing of the mountains, there is a small rock slide. Part of the path crumbles and Smokepaw falls into, a chasm in the mountains. And like that little touch of it being a continuity of this interaction between Blackstar and Smokepaw, and then Smokepaw dying and Blackstar having to say there's nothing that we can do for him, was just like, ooh.
Yeah. Shadow Clan really just had it rough this book, I feel. Like, obviously all the clans had it rough, but like the other destructions of the camps were off screen.
Yeah, theirs was on screen, and it was whew. I mean, I think Wind Clan has been starving for the longest. They are just... it's miserable. It's miserable. Tall Star is so sick. Oh, poor guy.
And he's so old, too. They're like, he just is so fragile.
But still, there is humor in the way Blackstar is so obstinate about the self-sufficiency of Shadow Clan. Like, when Shadow Clan is staying with Thunder Clan around Sunning Rocks, and he's like, "We will form our own patrols. We don't need your help." And it's like, I get it, but also it's so funny. It's like a toddler taking... It's
like, dude, they're not trying to take over. Like, they're literally just chilling.
It's like a toddler being like, "I can tie my shoes." And you have to stand there and watch the toddler struggle to tie his shoes for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
You also have the note here about the elders.
Oh, my God. The elders choosing to stay behind. That just made me sad.
It's really sad.
My husband is rubbing off on me. He hates in the sense of it always makes him cry when, like, old people are dying in a fictional media and, like, know that they're dying.
Yeah, I can sympathize with that.
So he's rubbing off on me because that got to me. Yeah. I was like, oh, God. And Longtail being like, "I should stay too. I'm not going to be able to make this journey if I'm blind." And they're like, "No, you're coming with us."
Firestar being so adamant about it is just
fucking real good growth.
It makes me, I want like I wish we had a whole arc about Longtail. Because he's such an interesting character to me, and we just we see some more of him. Like he doesn't disappear, but we're with the tribe again a little bit, and we talked last time about the problematic tropes woven into the tribe. But I just wanted to point out that there's some really good stuff that, like, I think there's really good moments with the tribe too. I think there's not really colonization undertones here in this book. Now, I think there's maybe some stuff later that we'll have to maybe return to that. But it really is like the clans come here. It feels like a genuine cultural exchange between the tribe and the clans. It feels more like a connection of two disparate communities, like returning together, reconverging after, these decades of convergence between what we saw in Dawn of the Clans and now. Nuance and all that. I thought that there was some really nice stuff here. I wanted to say that there's like, even if we got a weird accent for Stone Teller by Kate Carey in this book that I wasn't so hot on, there was some stuff in here that I thought was really good with the tribe as well.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the scene where they all, both the tribe and all four of the clans, like, basically have a feast honoring Feathertail.
Yeah, they have the celebration. They teach each other. The tribe shows the clans how to do the like prey exchange thing that they do. There just is a genuine, like throughout this whole book, there is a genuine sense of like community and community action that I think is really strong and important to highlight here that I liked a lot. Now, there's something in the Erin Corner in a few minutes that I'll get to that I just think is...
Yeah, I did take a peek and I was a little bit shocked that was there.
Uh-huh. I have to talk about it. We'll get there. It adds a different context that I'm like, whoa, don't.
It's yikes.
Yeah. Okay. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I have to, but I don't know what I'm going to say about it, but like the world needs to know, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't carry this burden alone. Anyway, that's a little preview for the Erin Corner. But before we get there, the little scene with Bramble and Squirrel talking about their feelings is so tender.
Yeah.
I love them.
I really do like them. I know there's issues with them later, but I do really like them.
I think this, I guess, here's spoiler. This is like minor spoiler talk, but you know, we're here. I'm a little punchy tonight. I'm going all over the place. I'm thinking about lots of things. If you just skip to the Erin Corner, if you don't want to hear this, I think this is probably just about the last thing.
Yeah, this is our last thing. Yeah.
I think that genuinely, and I haven't done the research. I haven't like gone in and seen what the fans are saying about it. But on a surface level, what it seems like people have trouble with Bramble and Squirrel later is that there is a conflict between them. There is some dishonesty that happens for narrative reasons, and then they have a fight about it, and then they talk it through, and they mend the relationship and continue forward. And I think people get mad that they mend the relationship.
Interesting. I don't remember what the issue is that people have with the relationship, but you know, knowing now what we know about Spotted Leaf, I am kind of convinced going forward that it is people making a bigger deal out of it than needs to be made.
Like, I truly think that people are like, Bramble shouldn't forgive Squirrel for what she did. And it's like, guys, do you know, like, yeah, relationships can have things that happen and then we can get over them. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe
we'll see how it is.
I might have a completely incorrect read on like the fandom vibe. Just like I haven't driven that far into it, but that was just like the feeling that I got that might be part of the issue. And I'm like,
yeah, no, I have no idea. I just know that there's a lot of talk about their relationship in the later books, but that's not what we're talking about. Why don't you take us down to the Erin Corner?
Okay. Should I end with this thing or should I open with this?
I think you should end with it. Okay. I think that'll be really good to like punch this particular Erin Corner in.
Okay. So before we get to the end of the Erin Corner, we have the beginning of the Erin Corner. Mm-hmm. I found an interesting little article that Vicky wrote on the Official Warriors website that gave a little bit of sort of insight on this series going from a trilogy into a 6-book series. So we got some stuff about that. There's also that the clans getting a sign that they needed to find a new home to save themselves from destruction. That's directly inspired by Watership Down, like Vicky stated.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah.
I love Watership Down.
Watership Down's good. I haven't actually ever read the book. I should do that at some point. But I have a soft spot for the animated film from the 70s because it's so itself.
See, I've never watched the animated film. I really want to, though.
I've watched that, and I've watched the miniseries that Netflix did a couple years ago, which was not as good, but had some interesting things in it. Yeah, it's not important, but I think both of them are worth watching. Okay, yeah, I'll have to make time to watch it. I remember checking out Watership Down from the library approximately 20 times. Yeah, I definitely feel like I need to read it at this point, not just because I find so much inspiration in the aesthetics and like the visuals and the storytelling of the film, and so I want to see the source material for that. But also because I read a lot of xenofiction. I read a lot of fiction about animals.
Yes.
I'm doing a podcast about animal fiction, and so I feel like
really?
Yeah, I do a Did you know that I do a podcast?
No, I didn't know that.
Wow. Yeah.
Damn, dude, you should have told me that you had a podcast. I would have totally listened to it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It just hasn't come up. You know,
Well, damn.
we're so busy recording our podcast. Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh.
So the timeline of the new prophecy going from trilogy to 6-book series is that the sales for the Prophecies Begin started really popping off like before Vicky had even finished the big overview outline for Moonrise. So at that point they had been like, give us a trilogy. Give us a next generation trilogy. And so she was like, sick. I've got this. She was very proud of herself. She's very proud of herself of the titles because it follows through from series 1. They had The Darkest Hour, Midnight, Moonrise, Dawn. And she was like, this is great. This is poetic. It's going from, it's dark and then it's midnight and then the moon rises and then it's dawn and like all is, even though moonrise wouldn't be then if we're talking about the way that the celestial bodies work, but that's okay. But then she had to add 3 more and apparently it was scrambling trying to decide what the other names were going to be, which kind of explains why we lose a little bit of the consistency in time of day.
Yeah.
Like I said, moonrise would happen before midnight, but there's plausible deniability there that you don't really get with going from dawn to starlight to twilight to sunset. So we lose the consistency a little bit with the time of day and the titles, but I still like all of the titles for this series a lot.
No, 100%.
So we lose the consistency a little bit with the time of day and the titles, but I still like all of the titles for this series a lot.
Oh, I agree. I do really like The Darkest Hour, Midnight, Moonrise, Dawn. I think that is really cool, and I don't blame her for being very, very proud of herself for that one.
Absolutely, yeah. That is a really, really good touch, and I also would probably be like, oh shit, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I think I probably would have to like Sun High.
Yeah.
At some point, and then get it all the way back to Twilight.
Yeah, because I did always think it was weird that it went midnight, moonrise, dawn, starlight. I'm like, hang on a second.
Wait a minute. You could have ended on Starlight, right? Like,
I think it could have ended with the name being Starlight, but I don't think that would have made as much sense with.
Yeah, Sunset is a very good name for the last one. But another great Vicky anecdote here is that she was also beside herself that she had to draw a new map for the new territories because when it was just going to be a trilogy where it like ended with them getting to the lake, she wouldn't have had to draw a new map.
Right. Oh no.
So then she realized she had to make a new map, and I guess whoever is the illustrator for the actual official maps that go in, like Vicky does rough sketches, and apparently the illustrator made fun of her for the horses that she drew in the concept sketch. Look, which was very funny.
Horses are hard.
Horses are hard. They're genuinely hard.
They're
Vicky.
notoriously hard to draw.
Even artists say that horses are hard.
I've always been saying this.
People have been saying this.
Many such cases.
The tomes have said, okay.
The sacred texts.
Okay, and then I found this cursed tribe knowledge in one of the Erin chats. Which just, I don't know. Vicky said that the inspiration for the tribe came after the horrors of 9/11, and she wished to explore what happened when 2 different religions encountered each other. What? Vicky?
A second Tiger Star has hit the clans. Little did you know, Hawkfrost was actually inspired by 9/11.
Holy shit.
I made Scout fall on the ground.
He disappeared out of the frame. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus Christus. Anyways, This just makes everything with the tribe, like, even there's just an extra layer of weird tone deafness that goes on top of it, which is so, like, the tribe doesn't deserve to have all of this baggage. Like, I do think that it's a genuinely good idea to have a different community of cats with a different culture and, like, have that intersect with the clan cats. But oh my god, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
This is also 6 years later.
And she's British. There's just like,
forgot about that.
There's so much.
Oh man.
I want to examine her thought process under a microscope. And then the thing that she the way that she gets there is like cats in the mountains. I don't know. How does the two things connect?
I don't want to know. I don't want to know what her thought process is. I feel like if I try and go down this rabbit hole, I'm just going to drive myself like to the brink.
This this kind of stuff is like I don't know. I can't think of a good enough joke, but there's got to be some sort of like QAnon joke in here somewhere. Like there's got to be something about the way that brains make connections and the conclusions that they draw. Ugh, I'm so sweaty. Okay, that's the end of the Erin Corner.
Oh man.
Again, I don't know that I have anything to say about it. I'm sorry to curse everybody with this knowledge, but I had to pass it on, or I think I think I would be haunted. I think something would happen to me. I think like a countdown clock would pop up over my head if I didn't continue to give this knowledge to others. Sharing tongues.
Let's share tongues. A lot of Tumblr was Dawn of the Clan stuff because, of course, searching by Warriors Dawn gets you Dawn of the Clan stuff. Mm-hmm. But we've got a couple of fun little posts here from Jem the Runner. This is related to our previous book, Moonrise. I didn't understand Mothwing and Leafpool as a ship until I started reading Moonrise this evening after around a decade and got to the part where Leafpaw wonders what was going on inside that beautiful golden head.
This is what we're saying.
Yeah, many such cases.
Many such cases.
We've got a review here from Beck Callow official blog that said that Dawn was the best book that they've read so far, but is depressing to read. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of cool on the New Prophecy in general. They are like, this is really good, but whoo boy. And you know what? That seems to be a general feeling, is that Dawn is a very depressing book. Mm-hmm. We've got another one to add to your pile of humans reacting to the cats. Yes! From Guillotine Dream. Can you imagine being that human guy in the New Prophecy arc? Like they're building a new Walmart or whatever, and they found a colony of feral cats living in the forest. You work as a shelter worker, so you're like, fuck, it's gonna be busy. And you have a shit ton of cats that they keep finding in the woods. So you're doing your job one day, minding your own business, about to take a bunch of cats to the vet when 6 of them fucking jump you. Another breaks out of its cage, and you've got one cat on each leg attacking you while the others open cages to free their brethren. You have to go home and explain to your wife that you lost your job because you got jumped by the fucking cat army and a mass breakout occurred. Weeks of trapping gone. How do you verbalize it's not your fault because like 15 cats decided to reenact Shawshank Redemption?
This is what I'm talking about. This gets me every time. Every single time this shit happens, I just am thinking about being a person in that situation and look, watching these cats do this shit. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
We have another one relevant to last time. From Chronically Unlucky, Aaron Hunter. Stormfur has a crush on Squirrelpaw. Stormfur every time Brambleclaw compliments him, and it's just a gif of Debbie Ryan doing the little hair tuck. And one of the tags is, OMG, I'm so glad Squirrelpaw has such a big, strong warrior to mate with. But a lot of folks in there were lesbian Leafpaw truthers, so we support. AO3 had 11 fics tagged for Dawn. There was a Ferncloud and Cody drabble where Ferncloud told Cody to take Birch Kit back to the two legs to kind of like better his chances of survival. And it was like, oh, that would have been really fucking depressing.
It would have been so sad.
There's another one of Firestar and Cloudtail saying goodbye to Princess, which, as we know, did not actually happen.
Yeah.
And I believe it is mentioned in later books that, like, she does canonically, like, worry about what happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
There are some Leafpaw / Cody fics, and Leafpaw / Sorreltail has 10 fics.
Hey.
There is a Shrewpaw Lives AU, Justice for Shrewpaw. Cody actually has 9 whole fics where she is tagged.
Oh yeah, Cody.
Including one of Sorreltail being jealous of Cody. So one of the reasons that we did not record last week was I was convinced that there were going to be some fucking bangers out there on the YouTube front. And I was like, I'm going to need a ton of time to research and like watch all of these because I know there's going to be some fucking heartbreaking shit. There are not as many as I remember. I swear YouTube's been going through and like culling all the old Warriors animations that I used to watch.
That's too bad. I mean, it is possible. I know that there are some that ended up being taken down because of drama in the Warrior Cats animator community.
And I'm sure some got copyright struck in and never like, and the claim was never like challenged because the person had probably moved on from the YouTube account by that point.
Yeah.
So I was really hoping for an emotional Gray Stripe animation. I did not get one. But there are some good like Lake Territory Journey ones.
Yeah.
There's a Roblox game called Lake Territory Reborn. And then I found this forum thread that I really enjoyed reading, which did remind me of something I was gaslighting myself out of remembering, because I remember you mentioning that one of the issues people had is that Stone Teller does not have 9 lives like the clan leaders. But I distinctly remembered reading that in Moonrise that Stone Teller does have 9 lives. And this person was rereading and they were like, yes, Stone Teller does have 9 lives.
It is a throwaway line, but Stone Teller does have 9 lives.
Yeah. So I did just want to correct ourselves on that one.
Yeah, I don't remember if I specifically brought that up in the previous episode or if it was just one of the points that's noted in the Google Doc that I mentioned and linked to. But yes, that is a good correction to make. He does have 9 lives, which makes sense because he gets fucking old.
Yeah. So I don't remember if that's something you said or something that we read, but just wanted to point that out. I wish they'd continued this thread because I would have really loved to like dive into it for the next books.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, they finished with Dawn and they never went back to their forum.
Oh.
But they had a thing. Dear listeners, there's a cat that we're going to have to keep an eye on in addition to Hawkfrost, and his name is Ashfur.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time he's mentioned in the book, they're like, Ashfur watch update.
That's how I feel reading this too. I didn't make a bunch of notes about it, but every time Ashfur comes up, I'm like, interesting.
Interesting.
Looking at him under a microscope.
So they mentioned Ashfur is the first cat who's genuinely happy that Squirrelpaw is back.
I noticed this too.
Mm-hmm. Skypaw13 is the person who did this thread. They also have a little bi flag on their name. I think they are me in an alternate reality where I was posting on the forums in 2021. Because rereading this today, it didn't affect me too badly, but I remember breaking down in sobs when I read about Graystripe getting captured the first time. Graystripe was my favorite cat as a kid, and I honestly found it hard to keep going the first time I read this book.
Skypaw 13 is alternate reality, Jill. It's
Skypaw 13, if you're out there.
If you're out there.
If you're out there, Skypaw 13, I get you. I would love to have coffee. Then they mentioned the use of setting in Dawn, how it doesn't have as many punchy emotional lines as Moonrise, but definitely like uses the setting and atmosphere in order to kind of direct the tone and the emotion of this book. And I 100% agree.
Worth noting, I got so distracted by the 9/11 thing that I forgot to mention that Kate Carey is the Erin that wrote this book. This is also the only book in this series that Kate Carey wrote. Cherith wrote the other 5.
and Hamilton wrote the other 51.
51. Okay, sorry, continue.
Wow. There was another forum that I found where they had sections for the first 5 arcs. So Prophecies Begin, New Prophecy, Power of Three, Omen of Stars, Dawn of the Clans. And there was nothing in the New Prophecy. No posts have been made on this board.
Wow, rip.
But generally what I'm noting is that the New Prophecy just seems to be very divisive amongst the fandom. Some people genuinely adore it and think it is one of the best arcs. Others think it is the absolute worst one. I feel like probably part of this is, you know, folks who maybe were like, I don't like that they moved to the lake territories. That could be part of it. I do know that I think Starlight gets into a lot of political finagling, if I remember correctly. What with trying to divide up the new territory. So yeah. I can imagine that would probably not be very exciting for some people to read.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it seems like this one is very, like, there's no clear cut, this is a good arc or not, from the general vibe that I get from looking at fandom things.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I remember when I did my 2020 reread of this arc that the back half had a lot of problems for me.
Right.
So I can see that also coloring a lot of folks' feelings about it.
And that is a lot of what I see is like, the first 3 are pretty good. The second 3 are not so good. And I was curious, like, I don't remember them being that bad, but okay.
I remember them being very changeable. I remember having some things in them that were really good, and some things that I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Which I think they feel similar to some areas of Dawn of the Clans in that way.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You know, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah. And for me, it was probably almost 10 or 15 years ago since I last read it. So who knows?
Mm-hmm. But this arc is not the one that made me take a whole year, maybe 2 years off of reading through all of the series.
This is also not the arc that made me drop it originally. So now again, part of it was also the pressure of like, I'm too old for this now, which was stupid of me.
For me, I don't believe it was that. I think I was too shameless as like a tween for that to happen. I think I have more shame now than I did when I was a tween, but it was that that those characters are a lot to deal with in arc 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will say, like, Omen of the Stars, I read the first, like, couple, and then I was graduating high school, so it wasn't, like, being a teen sort of thing. It was more
Omen of the Stars or Power of Three? Did you stop? Did you get all
Omen of Stars is where I stopped.
Oh. I
think
stopped on Power of Three.
I think I read the first 2 of Omen of the Stars. And then I got locked out of my fanfiction.net account for 10 years. And then I also went to college 2 years after I dropped the second book of Omen of the Stars.
That's fair. You know, you had a lot going on.
Yeah. So I was like, it was not me being a tween being like, I'm too old for this. It was me being almost a senior in high school being like, I'm too old for this. Which, again, I am now almost 30. In a couple of weeks, and I'm over here, you know, making a podcast about Warrior Cats, so clearly I'm not too old for it.
Cringe is dead. We make a Warrior Cats podcast.
I was not very smart going into college because I got rid of all my Warrior books and my DS.
That's right.
And I regretted that decision.
I regretted that every day of my life.
I did. I got to college, made new friends. They're all playing Pokemon on their 3DSs. I'm like,
oh no.
Shit. I should not have gotten rid of that thing.
Oh no, rip. That's so sad.
Yeah, well, I ended up getting a new one eventually. But yeah, it was very funny.
Redemption arc.
Yeah. And now here I am with a bunch of Warrior Cat books on my shelf.
Hell yeah.
You know, time is a flat circle and all that.
Time is a flat circle and all that.
But that's about what I've got for sharing tongues this week. Just, you know, not a ton for this book in particular, but some really interesting thoughts, I think, in general regarding the New Prophecy. Why don't we go on to our Warrior Cats of the week?
Yeah, Warrior Cats of the Week. Tell me what your pick is.
This is going to be a shock just because of how this particular character's arc ends up going and how much I don't care for that.
Mm-hmm.
But this book, I think Crowpaw/Crowfeather is my Warrior Cat of the Week.
That's a good one.
I just thought his warrior ceremony was really nice. I thought, like, him being very much like, I am the only healthy one left in my clan. I have got to help them. And, like, sticking up for his clan so much. Yeah. I just really enjoyed that.
Yeah, there were a lot of really good Crowfeather moments here. Agree. Who's
your Warrior Cat of the Week?
Okay. I'm going to need you to hear me.
Brackenfur, isn't it?
I'm going to need you to hear me out.
It's fucking Brackenfur, isn't it?
I'm going to need you to hear me out. I just revealed in our document while Jill is drinking water that my pick says, unfortunately, it is Brackenfur. I saw Jill almost do a spit take.
Yep.
Okay, this
Shock
is why.
and awe.
This is why. He didn't have that big of a role in this book. Here is the thing that really stuck out to me. There is a moment in this book where he leaps up and rescues Birch Kit from being taken by an eagle. Mm-hmm. And I read that, and for a moment I was like, oh, that's just like a really great little Brackenfur moment. And then I was thinking about it.
No,
and
I was like Snow Kit.
I was like, it's like fucking Snow Kit. This is him going through that same thing and being able to prevent what happened to Snow Kit. And he gets to prevent it. And I was like, that's my guy. That's my fucking guy. So that's why it's
Does he train Birch Kit?
Does he train Birch Kit? I'll check.
I'm checking right now. Their mentor. No, he was trained by Ashfur. Ugh.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Ashfur's fine. We don't need to worry about him.
Ashfur's fine.
Woof.
Oh, the Ashfur watch is so real.
Birch Kit does become pretty important later on.
He does become pretty important. There's some
stuff going on with him. So
yeah. And also the eventual relationship that he ends up with is really cute. They're really cute together.
I really like them together.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Dear listeners, if you have thoughts, opinions, questions, or memes to share with us, you can write to us at pawsandclawspod@gmail.com. That's paws as in what a cat has, claws as in the part of speech, pod as in podcast. We are also on Twitter and Blue Sky at Paws and Claws, and on Tumblr at Paws Clause Pod. And listeners who are 18 years and older can come join us on Discord, which will be linked in the show notes. We've been doing a little bit of cat RP over there, so if you're interested in that, make sure that you choose the warrior role?
Yes, the warrior role will get you access to either do some Warrior Cats forum RP with us, or to read what we've got going on. We just had a prophecy drop today.
Yeah!
So we're starting to get into some big plot things happening.
Exciting. We are brought to you by the TWG Podcast Network, which you can find at theworstgarbage.online. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, or Blue Sky at HumbleGoat, and you can see the art that I do, including our podcast cover art, at scoutwilkinson.myportfolio.com. And
you can find me on Twitter at plot_twists, on Blue Sky at plot-twists, or on Tumblr at antique-romantic. Our next episode will be out in 2 weeks, where we will discuss the new prophecy book for Starlight and the Winds of Change graphic novel. Read along by buying the books from a local bookstore or checking them out from your local library. Until then, dear listeners, may StarClan guide your paws.
TWG, the worst garbage, online.